to this recording to everybody who's registered for this session. So in the coming days, probably by the end of the day tomorrow, you'll have a link with the video that's being recorded here, as well as links to all of the specific things that we're talking about throughout this webinar. Okay, so you should have a notification that we are being recorded now. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what virtual proctoring is. I'm going to take a look at the technical requirements of what you need to complete through the virtual proctoring, how virtual proctoring works, how to test your system, and we'll go through an example of that. We'll then list some of the resources that are available to you so that you're made aware of exactly how to find information. We'll go through a couple of important reminders for you on exam day and where you'll be able to get help. Okay. So what is virtual proctoring? Virtual proctoring is an online monitoring service that allows you to take your exam from anywhere, either home or other preferred location. It ensures academic integrity of exams so that there's no academic dishonesty happening. It is flexible, allows you to take those exams 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the service provider that we selected is ProctorU. ProctorU is a well-known organization with well over 1,000 clients in North America that use its services, including chartered accountants as well as other healthcare professionals with certification designations. So, and other higher education facilities like Toronto U and the University of Waterloo as well. So these are some of the clients that ProctorU hosts, and this is one of the reasons why we had chosen ProctorU for our proctoring services. Let's go through some of the technical requirements now. First and foremost is a laptop or desktop computer, and a personal computer is recommended, not a work computer. And what I mean by laptop or desktop computer is an actual physical laptop or desktop. So tablets such as Chromebooks or Microsoft Surfaces are not considered computers in this case, and they're not supported in the exam format. And you will need to have access to a personal or laptop computer. Tablets such as iPads or Samsung Galaxies or even telephones are not permitted as well. So the only piece of equipment that you're able to write on is a physical desktop computer or a physical laptop. The only browsers that are supported are Google Chrome and Firefox, Mozilla Firefox. So this is available on these two platform types. Chrome or Firefox will work also on a Mac computer. So you are able to write an exam on a Macintosh computer. However, you will need to install Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox to do so. You have to have the ability to add the ProctorU browser extension to your web browser, and it's a Firefox or Chrome extension that gets added. So you need to have the ability to do that. And you need to have the ability to launch a LogMeIn remote connection application, which often requires administrative privileges to your computer. So this is a reason why we strongly recommend that you use a personal computer so that you have those capacities in your laptop or computer to be able to do so. You do require a microphone and webcam, so this is essential and needed for us to be able, for the proctor to be able to monitor you while you're taking your exam. You also have to have a high-speed, stable internet connection, and I'll show you where you're able to test your internet connection speeds as well. But having a high-speed internet connection is essential. And no virtual connection is allowed. So a virtual machine or a virtual private network. Again, this is a reason why we recommend that you use a personal computer, in that if you connect to a virtual machine or a virtual private network through your work computer, you're not able to have that connected while you're going through the exam. Okay. So if you are, and there's no way at all for you to be able to use a personal computer or even borrow a personal computer from a friend or a family member, and if you are required to use a work computer, We don't recommend it, but if you absolutely are needed to do that, you may need to contact your organization's IT department. So I would strongly recommend that if you do need to use your work computer to write your exam, that you need to coordinate with your IT department to ensure that you have all of the capabilities that we mentioned in the slide before. It's important that you have those abilities, so you're not able to if you're not able to install those extensions or run those applications, or if there's even a firewall setting on your computer, you need to make sure that your IT department is made aware of it so that they can coordinate accordingly. So how virtual proctoring works. What happens on exam day is you connect to a trained proctor. And there's a pre-launch process, which I'll demonstrate for you momentarily. You connect to that trained proctor. They verify your identity by you showing a government-issued ID. They request to scan your workspace, so they get a 360-degree view of your room as well as the tabletop that you're working on. They review with you the rules of the exam, and then they actually provide you the opportunity to launch your own exam. So this is the pre-steps of actually connecting to it, and then you go ahead and write your exam on that exam day. So let's actually take a moment here and show you what that process looks like. I'm going to go through a demonstration here of what that might look like in your on exam day. Okay. So I'm going to play a little bit of a video. I'm not able to actually demonstrate it live because my monitor and my camera and everything is being used for this. But I'm going to play this demonstration. And this is a successful demonstration of what you can expect on exam day, including all of the pre-launch up until the time that you actually start writing your test. So let's go through 10 to 15 minutes before your exam starts. Open up your exam booking confirmation email and launch the exam portal. Log into the Insurance Institute of Canada site using your member ID and password. And you'll notice that there's a countdown timer for your exam. Okay, so just I want to reach out to Lisa. Lisa's actually just proposed a question. It's asking for her to create a ProctorU account. So something that you're seeing on the screen here is once you get into your exam portal, and this is where you would book your exam before you test it out. You may be required to actually book your exam time before you complete your tested out function. Okay, any first-time exam takers may not necessarily have an account set up with ProctorU yet, and you need to book your exam before you test it out. Okay, so that might be a reason why Lisa was having some issues with regards to not being able to test it out or requiring a ProctorU account. Once this time, sorry, and then what happens here is after you've booked your exam, this countdown timer starts showing up, and you should be able to see how long it takes until you actually have to write your exam. And once it elapses, you're going to go ahead and launch your exam. So I'll just go ahead and play from here on in. Time elapses. Exam details will turn into launch exam. You have 30 minutes to connect to a proctor. Please make sure that you launch your exam as soon as you can. When you're ready, click on Launch Exam. This will redirect you to the proctoring service. Once you're at the proctoring service, you'll follow the on-screen instructions. So let's get started. The first page indicates some information on where you'll find help. You'll find that help by clicking on the owl icon in the top right-hand side of your browser and selecting Help. Please make sure that you fill out this online form to identify that you're an online test taker and that you require assistance connecting to a proctor. Once you're connected to the chat box, you'll be presented with some options to make your connection with a live agent go more smooth. Be patient in waiting for the live agent, as they may be helping other individuals. Only contact the Insurance Institute of Canada as a last resort. So it's essential on exam day, if you're having any technical issues at all, that you reach out to ProctorU initially. I can't stress this enough because they're the actual individuals who are well suited and best suited to be able to help you through any technical issues that you might have. So if they can help work through a camera problem or a connection piece, they'll be able to do that with you. In order to, if you need to connect with the Insurance Institute of Canada's membership services department, that should be as a last resort to possibly reschedule your exam or opt into the different options that you might have with regards to deferrals and whatnot. When you're done with the chat box, simply close it and continue. Take a few moments to make sure you have your government-issued photo ID, take a break, and clean anything else off your desk. When you're ready, read your exam session recording notice and provide ProctorU with all of the consent that they need to continue. Simply click on I agree to all of the above statements and select continue. You'll then go through a system check to select your camera and microphone and allow them to be used again. You will then be prompted to share your entire screen. Simply click on the screen that you see on the page to select it, and then click on Share. It'll finish the system check, and you'll go to the next step. At this point in the connection, you'll be required to take a photo. Align your face so that it's within the red circles, and click Take Photo. You'll then be asked to take a photo of your government-issued photo ID. Please align it in the red squares so that your name and expiration date is visible, and select Take Photo. Once this part of the check has successfully passed, you'll need to read the examination rules and agree that you've read and understand the rules and that you agree to the terms of the service of ProctorU's privacy policy and terms of service. Go ahead and continue on to the next screens. At this point, you'll be prompted to download and run the Support Log Me In chat box. At this point, you'll need to download and run the Log Me In chat window. Simply click on Download and click on the file once it's completed in the bottom left-hand corner. This opens up the chat box in which your virtual proctor will connect with you. Be patient at this time. This can take upwards to 30 to 40 minutes at some points in high volume cases. So I'd like to stress to you the importance of waiting through this process. So the connection time that you have 30 minutes to be able to join and connect to your test. So it's really strongly recommended that you launch your exam as close to the time that you scheduled as possible, so that that time doesn't run out. As long as you're waiting for a proctor in this window, you'll be able to continue through that. So at this point, this is really a test of patience if it's a really busy time frame. We don't anticipate that, but there could be upwards to 30 to 40-minute wait for proctor in very high volume time frames. So please be patient at this time waiting for that proctor to connect, and as soon as they connect, that's when you'll be able to proceed, and they'll go through the next stages of that. You'll notice that there's an area identifying what status your chat box is in, and you'll be prompted with a number of pieces in the actual chat box. Do not close this. To answer Stephanie's questions, if you only have 30 minutes and there are sometimes 45 minutes wait, no, it won't kick you out. So long as you've gotten to this point and are waiting patiently, Stephanie, you won't be kicked out and not able to get in. So at this point, again, if you're waiting here patiently, you'll be okay. It doesn't account for that time, and it makes sure that you're connected at this point. So you're good to go if you're still waiting for the proctor at this point. This box, as it will restart your entire process. If you need help, click on the owl icon in the top right-hand side, and wait patiently as the messages come through. Once you're connected to a proctor, you'll be prompted to give them permission to take control of your desktop. You'll notice that the status bar of your chat window will indicate who you are chatting with, and your proctor will then start communicating with you. Some proctors prefer to communicate via the chat box, while others will connect to your computer and connect with you in an audio call. Follow any instructions they give you. Once you've gone through all of the instructions that your virtual proctor has given you to set up your exam, they will open it up for you to be able to start. When you're ready, simply click on Begin Exam, read the information here, and agree to the statements. This is when the time of your exams start. Good luck on your exam. Okay, so a couple of questions that came out. I just want to reiterate and reinforce. The entire pre-launch and connection to your proctor does not eat into any of the time that you have for your exam. So please don't be concerned with that time frame taking longer than expected, because you do have the full amount of time that you have scheduled for your exam. If I'm not mistaken, you have 3 hours to write your exams, and that will start as soon as you start and click on Begin Exam after you've connected to that proctor. Okay, so if it takes you, 45 minutes, you still have 3 hours beyond that 45 minutes. So we recommend, when you're creating or scheduling your time to write this, schedule an extra hour. So if you have 3 hours for your exam, schedule 4 hours so that your connection time isn't you're not worried about the connection time. You have a full hour to be able to connect. A couple of the questions in the chat was asking around how long before your actual exam time should you start. Only about 10 minutes before you should be able to log in and do that. We do strongly recommend that you test your equipment 4 hours before, up to 4 hours before your exam time, in the location that you're going to be writing. And the reason we recommend this is so that you're testing on the day of your exam, and you're testing so that your internet connection speed is as valid as possible and as up to date as possible. You're testing in that condition that you're going to be writing the exam. However, when you start that launch process, we recommend that you log in 10 to 15 minutes before and launch it on the time that your exam becomes available. Okay, so one of the how to test your system. So we've gone through a little bit of a demonstration of how you would test your system, or how you would actually experience your exam on exam day. But many of you are probably asking, well, how do I test my system, and how do I make sure that that's there? So what you're going to do in your exam booking email that you received a link to this site here. So it's actually iic.ysasecure.com. And if you go ahead and log in using your member ID and password, you'll be brought to your exams portal window. And this is where you would book your exam. And again, I strongly recommend that you book your exam before you test it out if you're a first-time test taker. And once you've done that, you'll see this link right down here, Test It Out. When you click on Test It Out, it actually brings up a window that tests your equipment. It checks your microphone, it checks your camera, checks your speakers, it checks all of your hardware that's connected to your computer. Now I'm going to successfully pass most of this, and I should fail on only one item, and that's going to be the actual screen and monitors. But let me just go through the process of okay, so it's going through the process, and it's checking to see if I have ProctorU extension installed as well. And notice here a little bit of a window comes up. So if you don't have the extension installed already, you are prompted throughout the test here. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and install it, and it forwards me over to the place where I can add that extension to my browser. Again, this is a requirement that you need to have the ability to do this. So if your work computer does not allow you to add extensions to your browser, you'll need to coordinate that, and this is one of the reasons we again recommend that you use a personal computer to do that. Okay. And then once you get back over here, you can see that the test is here, and I'm going to retest it. So it goes through the process again, and essentially this is a nice way to be able to go through a troubleshooting element. It needed the actual extension, it came through, I retested. Now I'm noticing that I'm failing here for some reason, and I have a monitor count failing warning, and right down here in red, I see that I can only use one monitor. And I know that this is the reason because I have two monitors set up here today. So for my demonstration for you. So once I disconnect that second monitor, I'll be able to run this test again, and it would show me that I would pass this test itself. Okay, so essentially what you want to do is you want to have all four green check marks up here, and you want to check down here to see if there's any system details that you need to kind of go through. This would be something that would be helpful for you to ensure that you have that information for it. Okay. And that's a system check. So that's where you would go to ensure that it's there. Again, some tips and reminders. Please make sure that you test your equipment, and please ensure that you test your equipment approximately up to about 4 hours before your test as well. It's really important that your equipment works on the day of your exam. So even if you've tested it before and you know that it's working, test it again on exam day just in case you're having any issues, so that you have time to be able to reach out to technical support and work through any questions that you might have for them. Okay. Something else to note in that space is that there's a place here. So if you don't meet any of these system requirements and you're not really sure of where things are going, you can actually go to the testout.proctoru.com. This link down here, it actually provides you a place to be able to connect to a live technician. So you're able to connect to a live technician, explain to them that you're writing the exam, and that you'd want to see that there. Okay. And one last thing here through the exams, and that's essentially where you'd be able to get help pre-exam. During the exam, what you would do is you would actually go through your ProctorU, your little owl in the top right-hand side, and on the exam day, when you've launched the exam, you'll see a help option here, and that's where you would get the help from there. Okay. So resources. Many of you have already found this page, and that's the reason why you're here today. Is that you've registered for the webinar. But this virtually proctored computer-based examinations webpage has a lot of information and resources for you. So information on your system requirements, and this is where you can come here and test your speed, where you can see what speed you have, where you can download and install the Chrome extension or the Firefox extension, a place where you can connect to the exam portal to test your equipment, as well as some examples of how you can book your equipment and how you can test your equipment and whatnot. Okay. And as well, this is where you can find information and the videos on writing your exam on exam day, and then tips on taking proctored exams, etc. Okay, some information. On top of that, there's some frequently asked questions. So over on the left-hand side, there's a list of all of the frequently asked questions with regards to virtually proctored exams. So general questions about what proctoring is, what your system's requirements are. There's a really great step-by-step on exam day piece that you can walk through if you learn a little bit more and you pick up more information through reading as opposed to watching the video. Going through the rules and regulations. So this is important for you as well, knowing what you're expected of, and then some tips on being successful, how to prepare for your exam, when to study, how to study, which you've all gone through as well. Okay. Absence and deferrals information. This is all information within the FAQ. Okay. Something to note as well, something that's changed for this administration is you will be allowed one break during the exam. So CIP, GIE, and risk students are all permitted to have one brief break throughout the exam. So something that is noted is you're not allowed to have food or drink on your test at your test station when you're actually writing the test. So if you do require a break to have a drink of water or to go to the bathroom, you are permitted one break throughout that exam. But when you do come back, you will be asked to go through that area check again. So they'll ask you to do a 360-degree view of your room, as well as take a look at your desktop as well. Okay, so any potential breach that might be had through a virtually proctored environment, some things to note are, if you're looking off into the distance while you're thinking about your exam, the proctor might ask you to bring your attention back to the screen, and or if you're reading your questions out loud, or you're rereading your questions out loud, you have to remember that these proctors' jobs are to ensure that the academic integrity of the exam is upheld, and they don't know if there's another person behind your computer screen, or if you're looking at something that somebody may have written on the wall. So they're asking you to just kind of keep your focus on the examination itself. So please keep that in mind if your proctor is asking you to bring your attention back to the screen, or asking you to comply with something that they're asking you to do. It's just in the nature of their role that they need to make sure that the exam is integrity is upheld, and we understand that some people have some tendencies to do that when they're nervous or going through a test, but just please keep in mind that it's not necessarily an attack on you, or something that's insinuating that you're cheating, but it's just something that those proctors are trained to do. So just please keep that in mind while you're doing that. Okay. So some important reminders. Let me just kind of make sure that we have. Okay. So biggest reminder is use a personal computer. Where computers often have firewalls or other security measures that can cause issues while you're attempting to write the exam. So please, in any case, please use a personal computer on a personal network that you have. So this is probably the biggest place that that people can run into troubles. So if you have that personal computer, we strongly recommend that you use it. You do have to have a valid government issue photo ID to take the exam. So you will be asked to present either a driver's license or your health card to take the exam. The proctor can take up to 20 minutes or more to join your session. Again, this is reinforcing the fact that once you've gone through that pre-launch and you've loaded that window, please be patient to connect to a proctor. It is a busy time. Higher education facilities are doing testing and examinations at this time as well, and we're not ProctorU's only clients. So just please keep in mind that you may have a little bit of wait time. Use a wired connection rather than a Wi-Fi if you can. So by physically plugging your laptop or your computer into your modem or router will greatly increase your actual connection speeds and/or reliability of your Wi-Fi. So if you're able to physically connect to that, please do so. It will help out a lot. So the exam booking. So it's just something to kind of just reminder to check in on. Go ahead and take a look at your exam booking and make sure that that you've scheduled it at the time you're expecting. It is a 24-hour clock, so please be careful that you need to register for the best time that works for you. And if you're registering for 100 hours, that is 1 a.m. in the morning, and 1300 hours is 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So please keep that in mind. Book your exam early to allow for greater selection. So, we're coming up to when exams are starting, so spots are filling up quick. Please make sure that you try and book mornings, evenings, or even look at for off times, off of the hour or half hour. So if you're looking to book at 12 o'clock, consider booking at 12:15 so that you have maybe a better chance of not running into the issues with high volume cases of people connecting. Your exam duration starts after you've connected with a proctor. So your examination duration will not be impacted with your pre-launch. So make sure that you schedule for that pre-launch time and your exam time when you're taking a look at time off for your exam. Okay, so here we go. Here's some do's and don'ts. So do clear your desk, and make sure that your space is orderly and well lit. Anything that's on your desk itself, so papers or clutter, you may be asked to move it. So strongly recommend that you find a space that's clear of anything that's on your desk. And make sure that it's well lit. You know, when you're taking a look at cameras, if you're in a space that has a light behind you, it might cast a shadow on your face, and the proctor can't really see your face when you're taking the exam. If you have a space that has a window, try and face the window so that the light is on you frontally instead of in the back, so that you can be seen easily. Sit in an upright position. This allows for your head to be in the camera view at all times. If at any time you go out of that camera view, you might be asked to do that 360-degree view again, and it's disruptive for you while you're taking your exam. It's understandable. So if you sit in an upright position that's not on a couch or with the laptop on your lap, it makes sure that you stay in frame. Test alone for the entire exam. So please make sure that you let people know that you're testing and that you can't be disrupted and no one can be in the room with you. Um, and it must be on a laptop, a desk, or a tip to do is to keep it on a platform, on a desk or a table. Again, this helps in keeping um, your head in frame. Few of the don'ts, don't take your test on your bed or on the couch. Make sure that you're in a place that's a little bit more suitable for examinations. Don't test in a poorly lit workspace. So if you have a dark room, make sure you have the appropriate lighting. Cluttered or crowded workspaces often will make the proctor ask you to clear things off. So that takes more time and you become a little bit more stressed if you need to do that. And make sure that there's no one pet or person in your room at any time during the test itself. They need to be testing alone. Okay. And last but not least, where you can get help. So in order to get help on the exam day or even while you're testing out your equipment, if you have some technical questions, please reach out to ProctorU. Their number is 1-855-772-8678. And when you get connected, you can select option 1. That'll allow you to connect to a technical representative so that you can go through whatever you're working on, whether it's testing your equipment and making sure your equipment is ready for exam day, or even on exam day, if you're having technical issues, please reach out to ProctorU. Okay. After you've gone through the technical requirements, and if you've determined that you need to either reschedule or rebook for defer to another semester, please reach out to member services at 1-866-362-8585 or at iicmail@insuranceinstitute.ca. Let them know what the reason is why you're having some issues, or if you have questions with regards to what your options might be. If you don't meet those technical requirements, please reach out to member services to discuss what you have options for. Okay. Um, all right. So with that said, as I've mentioned before, this session was recorded. In the next 24 hours or so, you should receive an email from me personally that will have a link to the recording, and all of its fun. You will also find links. I'm going to provide you links to the virtually proctoring webpage, links to the yardstick examination portal where you can actually book your exam and test your equipment, and links to the FAQ for your information. Thank you very much for joining us today, everyone. It's been a pleasure. If your questions have not been answered on the session today, please reach out to member services at 1-866-362-8585 or iicmail@insuranceinstitute.ca. They'll be able to field any questions that you might have if they hadn't been answered here today. I'll stay on the line for a few moments to answer questions with Romana. But thank you everyone for joining, and have yourself a great day. Okay, Ian asks, are we allowed to have the help desk numbers handy on the exam date? So your help desk numbers are available on your computer. So if you're connecting to your Proctor, Yin, you can open up a window to be able to find that information. If you do have a piece of paper handy with you to connect, you may be asked to put that somewhere else once you've connected to a Proctor. So in short, yes, you can have those numbers available to you, but you might be asked to take it off your desk after you've done. Oh, sorry, Ramana, you were going to answer that question. My apologies. Okay, Natalie asks, I have the same issue as Julia. Okay, I have no place to lock my pet up in a humane way for 3 hours. If they aren't allowed, does this really matter? Um, I'm going to let Rumana answer that one if that's okay. I'm not entirely sure what her policies are. I do believe that you need to be, if your pet is quiet, that might not be an issue, but I'll let her respond accordingly. Do we need a calculator for the exam? So in this case here, there is a calculator provided to you in the examination. So once the examination launches, there's actually a place for you to be able to take notes on the screen as well as do calculations. So you will have an opportunity to access a calculator and a note area on the computer itself. Okay, Yin asks, do we allow any scratch paper? No, there's going to be no opportunity to have any scratch paper or information there. There are places for you to write notes on the exam itself. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring the session to a close. Thanks again for everyone. And let's just take a quick look here. So where would the calculator be? Okay, so in this case here, Manjinder, the calculator in the final exam, it's different than the midterm. The actual interface is different. So when you are presented on the exam in the final view, the actual software itself has a button that's very clear that shows the calculator and the scratch notes for it. Okay, so Natalie. Manjinder, if maybe what we can do is if you don't mind reaching out to me via email, so the email that's sent to you, if you reach out to me, what I can do is I can grab a screenshot for you and respond via email where you would find that in the exam. Okay. Galileo, absolutely. So if it's a full laptop computer and it's not a tablet computer like a Microsoft Surface or a Google Chromebook, um, and has the capacity to have a touch screen, yes, that is permitted. Mark, you can take it from a couch. However, you will need to have your laptop on a table so that you're going to be in frame at all times. Okay, so again, you're going to be asked to give a 360-degree view of your room, and you do need to be in frame at all times. So if your computer is moving around and you actually are out of frame, your proctor will ask you to take that 360-degree view again. So you might want to be able to do that. Hi Judy, your CPO usage no, your CPU usage should be suitable for it. If it reaches above 85%, it's that CPU usage is just making sure that you don't have a lot of other platforms, other things on there. It's really recommended that when you're taking your test, the only thing that you do is close it right down and restart your computer and launch your web browser and have that as the only piece of software that you're running. Um, and then that'll make sure that your CPU usage is as low as possible. Okay. Thanks again, everyone. If your question hasn't been answered, please reach out to me through the email that was sent to you. I'll be happy to either forward your email to someone that might be able to answer or respond myself. Um, Thank you so much for your time today. Have yourself a great exam experience and good luck on your exams.